I want to show you about student portfolios because I was talking to a couple seniors today, and actually not even in my program, the program next door in visual communications, which I used to teach. It's the same thing, but it's more based towards fine arts too, like drawing, painting, things like that. So we got into this whole conversation about portfolios and all that jazz. And we talked a little bit about it in terms of just getting everybody to, start working on your portfolios. And it is definitely something when everybody comes back that I will definitely be focusing on more. Um, because basically every student in this program has to have a website. You have to have a website because I really don't know any other way that you would be able to present your work to people, especially in the digital format. It's one thing to have drawings and paintings and things like that, but so we'll talk a little bit about that today. But wrapping up, Alex, is what we talked about yesterday. Actually, hold on, let me do participants. Okay, so I covered the elements of composition. I also talked a little bit about on how composition carries over into everything that we do, whether it's a song or what you write a story. Even video games, they're composed. There's a plot, there's a story to it, there's an ending to it, and then you have to kind of compose. What are the scenes like? What is the environment like? What are the characters like? And you get into all this composition, especially when they create the digital environments. They have to kind of know foreground, middle ground, background, what they call the depth of field. It's actually a pretty big deal in gaming, is to understand all that contrast, lighting. Because I was actually, as I said, I was talking to a student about that might be geared a little bit more towards game design. So make sure you take a look at the slide presentation. And then there's the Edpuzzle of the video, and then the quiz. But jumping on is going to, your final presentation. Now, as I said, you have a couple different options. You could do a slideshow if you want. You could do a video presentation using iMovie. You could put music to it using GarageBand. You can make just a photo collage. But let me say this, some people are going to go for the cop out and do the easy one and do the photo collage. If you have a MacBook Pro and you start using the software, iMovie is so easy to use. You can take the pictures that you photographed for this assignment, create an iMovie out of it, put some vocabulary terms. You could just as easily take parts from this, for example, rule of thirds. If you wanted to pull this definition and apply it to your photo, you could totally do that. I'll be honest, I grab most of this stuff on photography websites or Wikipedia. But if you want to literally go in, take these suggestions or these definitions and apply them to your photographs, go right ahead. Some of you may actually create a slide presentation and then just convert it to a movie, which is something you can do in PowerPoint if you don't have access to iMovie. It does a nicer job because it actually explains it. And it'll look a lot better in your portfolio. And that's the point that I wanted to try and get across today, is talking about portfolios. Now, I don't know if some of you have been doing art for a long time. If you want to, if you would all do me the honor of putting in the chat, do you have a collection of artwork that you've done, whether it's digital, drawings, photos? If you could just put that in the chat for me, that would be awesome. And that's not including what we've learned here. I mean, if there's stuff you do on the side, if there's anything you've done in middle school or anything like that. So it could be drawings, it could be things that you've made. Like I said before, when I was in art school, I learned sculpture, metalworking, woodworking, and I would photograph. If I made a chair, I would photograph it. So, the bigger thing is like, well, how do you present all that to somebody? And if you remember too, we mentioned about the importance of having what's called a diverse portfolio. Now, when you say diverse, that's fancy for a variety. You have a lot of different stuff going on in your portfolio. So I'm going to jump to actually my website, strictly for photography. So I have not updated this in a while, so I'm a total hypocrite. But I'm actually in the process of redoing my website because I really don't do that much photography anymore. I'm doing a lot more graphic design and I'm doing a lot more social media stuff. So I need to go and revamp my site. And that's something I definitely plan on doing. But when I was out shooting weddings and commercial work and portraits, I was all about this website and I took a lot of care of it. So if you see, this is my, my portfolio. This is about me, where I went to school, what I charge, my galleries and things like that. But from the perspective of a portfolio, and I would love, and I'm going to expect when students leave my program, they're going to have a killer portfolio that they can take with them to upload work, show work when they apply for art school, college, a job. It doesn't matter. You have to be able to really present your work. Now, even though I did just photography, you can break that down even more. It's not like you would have a portfolio of just all of your pictures in one spot. The main goal, though, at this point in your lives is you should have what's called a diverse portfolio. And that's like you should show graphic design and photography and video and sound clips. And do you remember when we talked? You could throw it in the chat for me. Do you remember why I said it would be good to have a really good diverse portfolio as opposed to a portfolio of just pictures or a portfolio of just drawings or a portfolio of just video? Do you know why it would be good to have a portfolio with variety in it at your age? Come on, peeps, help me out here. Why do you think?
Yeah, more job opportunities.
Yes, that's one. And it also shows how diverse you are. And that's why we say a diverse portfolio. It shows that you've learned a little bit of everything. Now, the funny thing is, if you have a portfolio of just photography, what kind of jobs can you apply for, Steve? Steven, are you paying attention to me? You're not paying attention to me at all, are you? Steve, answer me.
Yeah.
If you had a portfolio with just photographs in it, what kind of jobs do you think you'd be able to apply for?
You would apply for a photographer position.
You are correct. But if you had a portfolio with some photography in it, with some video, with some sound, you can apply to different jobs. If they need somebody that's called a media editor, they might see that and go, wow, this person can do video, photo. Oh, and they can do audio. So we may, we're starting a new department, so maybe we can ask this person to help us with it. So it's good to have that kind of a portfolio, especially when you go away to art school or college or community college or whatever. They want to see that you're comfortable trying different things. Because when you go away to school or you commute, you're taking different types of courses. If you have a portfolio that is strictly just paintings in it, it kind of shows that you're comfortable only doing just that one thing, and maybe you're not willing to try other things. I mean, that's what it could mean. So you want to be able to have what's called this diverse portfolio with a bunch of stuff to it. But here's my photography portfolio. But this was, like I said, strictly for photography. But you can see I broke it down. I have wedding photography, events, when I do portraits, my creative work, when I fix pictures, and I really enjoy doing commercial work. So I would work with models, products, boy, that's old, but I really like shooting architecture. Here's a fitness center nearby, a country club that I took pictures of, real estate. When somebody goes to sell their house, I just take pictures of it. So, maybe somebody's looking at my portfolio, they're like, I really don't care about his pictures of architecture, but what type of work does he do with models? You know what I mean? Same thing with weddings. A lot of photographers hate weddings. I can't say I'm the biggest fan, but people are always getting married. And it is a good source of income that helped me pay my way through school, pay off my debt, and be able to, afford the things that I need. And then I even went so far as to break it down even more. Just in the wedding category, I did, I had a theme: winter, spring, summer, fall, and then on the beach, on a farm, on a golf course, just interesting places that I've shot weddings before. And people go, wow, this person's went, shot a bunch of different stuff. The different colors that I use. Um, there's that touch of color, Deshauna. I learned that years ago. I faded this out a lot and I really over colorized that photo. Um, but people want to go in and see these diverse portfolios of the things that you do.
That was a cool picture of the watermelon and they cut out the people. That was cool.
Yeah, thanks. So these two are very, like trendy, and they made all this stuff. It's crazy. And some of the things that people like is that people miss the decoration. People don't realize how much goes into the invitations. They actually made these flowers out of soda cans because they're the fiance is into recycling, and she went and said, well, why should we buy fresh flowers? I could just do so she cut up coat hangers and put little flowers, but they really went out of their way. She had all these fresh flowers, and these are the things that you want to capture. Like just, yeah, you're right. The pumpkin, it's crazy. You go get cheese. Hey, look at the pumpkin. So there's a lot of stuff that you would miss after the wedding. Say they had this, probably the best thing about this wedding, they had the most amazing fajita station. You go make all kinds of fajitas. I went up there like 3 times. I couldn't take pictures for like an hour. But all of the thought and effort. They had this amazing dessert candy station. And that was my job. My job is to record that day, to tell that story. And when you have a portfolio, you're trying to tell that story of who you are and what you do and how creative you can be and like what your thought processes are. And honestly, these are the kind of pictures that I like to take. They even had a cool Polaroid sitting on the table so people could take pictures and pass the camera around all night. But, just like fun type of picture. That's her and her dad. But I did enjoy doing them to a degree because a lot of them were friends and family. So I guess my whole point is even though I have just a photography portfolio, it's diverse, right? Because I have diversity in just weddings because I have all these different times a year, different locations. And my portfolio is also diverse in the sense that I broke it into categories. Like I don't just photograph people or weddings. I shoot products. I used to shoot stuff for Crate and Barrel, setting up the table and putting all these things together. This was in a studio. It looks like it was in somebody's house, right? So we had all this. This is also a studio. It's all how you light it. We actually built a wall with windows and mini blinds, and we lit it like daytime. So there's some pretty cool, kind of stuff that we did to do these lifestyle photos. And this is the kind of stuff I really used to enjoy doing before, digital really took off. But my hope is like what I like to say is, and when you have a diverse portfolio, you do what's called, you cast a wide net. I put this website out there. That was one of my favorite shots. Why I made this diverse portfolio was so maybe people are coming to look at my site and maybe they're there to get their wedding taken, and maybe they own a business. Oh, he also does product photography. Oh, he also does, where our house is going up for sale next month. I can also hire him to take pictures of that. So people don't know what you do until you tell them or until you show them, right? So it's important to experience as much as you can, so people can kind of get a feel for what it is that you do, your creativity. Now, I've actually had clients tell me that they went in to look at my creative work and say, I really liked the creative photographs that you took, and it shows that, and that's why I hired you to shoot my wedding, because you take, different types of photos. And some wedding photographers don't put these pictures on their website. And I'm trying to tell people my story. And that's exactly why portfolios are so important. And also the reason I bring it up too is as we come close to the end of the year, I'm going to hope people start going in and doing their portfolios. But, here's a really good example of one of my students, Broden. This is his second year in the program. He's a great kid. He's really talented. And he's got a really nice portfolio, and it's really kind of opened up some opportunities for him. Actually, he just helped do a video for the school. for when they do tours for fifth graders. They can't have kids in the school. So he walked and videoed everything. And now he's got all this great material to be able to show people. I would be shocked if he didn't get a scholarship to any school that he wanted to go to. You know, at least a little bit of money, if not maybe a full scholarship. But he's got, you know, and this was all done in Wix, and this is what I'm gonna have everybody work on once we all get back in here. But you know, we shot his picture in the studio. He wrote a nice he wrote a nice biography about himself. You can go into, you know, he does, and one of the things you'll all be doing before you graduate is you start a blog. And that gets you to start to talk and communicate. His blog is about music, okay? And I really don't care what you blog about as long as it's related to industry or something in the field. But people start to read this stuff and go, oh, wow, you know, he really likes this kind of music. This is why he's in industry. He does an awesome job. I actually started listening to some of this stuff because of him. And I love reading it. Also, blogs are really, really, really good for boosting your social media and your where you show up on Google. So when you're out there competing against so many people, this is super duper helpful. And he's got all his stuff, you know, all up to date. It's really, really good work that he does. I'll jump over. He's got photography work. So you can see some of the work that he does. He's gone to concerts and photographed work. You know, he does some product photography that we did here in class, you know, food. So it's pretty neat. Even if he just goes to a restaurant, you know, he's got a really good eye, and he probably just uses camera phone. Who cares? Because that's what you see a lot on social media. A lot of foodies, a lot of bloggers, they go out and, you know, they're not going out. Oh, that looks so good. They're not going out and buying $10,000 cameras anymore. You know, they're using what they have to take some really cool, interesting pictures. Now, I'll tell you something cool too. He could take it to the next level and make a graphic design out of it. He could make a menu. He could make a poster. He could design and use his own photographic work. So he's got a lot of great stuff in here. And once again, here's the diversity. He's got photography. He's got the graphic design work he's done here in the program. Okay, he's got a lot of stuff. And this is all free time that he spends working on images too. Okay, so he's got some really cool things. And then last but not least, he's got his video work. Yeah, so he's actually editing videos at this point for our program, and he's going to add them to his page. So if you can imagine, it's pretty cool that he is 16 years old, going on 17, and he's got a really cool portfolio, right? So a lot of you are going to be, if you know, I'm not going to lie, put in the time, you put in the effort, it's going to pay you rewards in the long run. I didn't even have a portfolio website till I was 28 years old. Okay. So for you to have the ability to do that stuff now, it does open itself up into scholarships and opportunities and freelance jobs, you know, and things like that. So that's just one of the points that I wanted to get across. You know, you're going to do all this hopefully cool work in the program, but you have to be able to show for it. Okay. So please keep making sure that you're saving all your work to your folders, that you're organizing everything, that you're planning it out. And then once we all get back together, I'll dive in and we'll really start putting those portfolios together, and you can start showing them off to people. Okay. So that's what I had for today. If nobody has questions, I think we're good to go. I have actually got done. We've already had class a couple times this week. And as I said, I'm caught up. So congratulations. There will be no class tomorrow. So enjoy the break, enjoy your time. And, you know, like I said, I know it sounds crazy, but if you have time over the break, please catch up on some work. I don't care if it's my work, catch up on your sending school work, catch up on whatever it is that you need to get done. If your room's not clean, do something nice for your family or your friends, clean your room, you know, go outside and do something interesting, you know, take advantage of it, you know, and try and de-stress from it a little bit. But but yeah, so I'll send an email out tomorrow, but just keep working on this composition piece project, and you know, I will circle, I can't believe I'm saying it, I'll circle back with you all in like 10 days or 12 days or something. But if you need anything between now and then, questions, comments, concerns, I don't care if you email me over spring break. I check my emails all the time. But you can always reach out to me if you need something. Okay. Okay. All right, Jordan.
Mr. McCarthy, I actually wanted to ask you,
Sure.
my website, I actually wanted to ask you if you could help me lay it out with the colors and everything.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll tell you what, why don't you send me the link when you get off here? Just email it to me. Just send it to my email and I'll take a look at it and I will follow up with you tomorrow. I'll shoot
Alright.
you. We'll find a good time. But tomorrow, you know, obviously, if I'm not having class, but I'll be around for office hours. So you get me all to yourself. We'll go through your site, check it all out, and we'll go from there. But maybe start thinking about if there's some colors that you like, but make sure they're relevant to, you know, what it is that you're trying to get across. But yeah, I'm excited. I'll check out your site. So that'll be pretty cool.
All right, thank
All
you.
right, cool. Thanks, everybody. Please be safe. Be good. I'll catch up with everybody after the break. You know where to find me if you need me before then.